Hello, everybody. It's good to see you. It's good to see you all. What about that video? That was a big build-up, wasn't it? Well, we're going to have some fun, right? And the first thing I want to know from everybody, we're all here for to deepen our skills with negotiation. But in the chat box, if you would, what's your biggest concern with negotiation? Either you, or if you're learning development manager or a team leader, the people in your team. What is their biggest concern? The people you're responsible for, what is their biggest concern when it comes to negotiation? In the chat box. And while you're doing that, just so you know, when I want to look more intelligent, I always put my glasses on. There you are. Now I can read the chat box. Okay. What's your biggest concern? That's it. Very good, Alan. So creating conflict, destroying the relationship. Very good. Not getting what you want, Andy. Very, very good. Give us some more. There's more. There's always more. Go deeper. What are your biggest concerns? What are the biggest concerns that you see when it comes to negotiating? Not getting the return, not being able to be honest. You've got to put up this big mask. And if they lose out, that's really nice. Actually, I like that a lot. If they lose out, a fear of being rejected, very real, very real. Coming across too harsh. And I often see the opposite, coming across as too soft. Right? Being a pusher, exactly. Thank you, Karen. Being a pushover. This is very good. This is very good. Okay. All right. And keep them coming. We're going to look first up at what negotiation is, because most people, when they think of negotiation, they think of big deals. Them across the other side of the desk. We're here. With what you get, I lose. That sort of thing. But if you really think about it, and most people are aware of this, you're negotiating for a lot of the day. In fact, our definition of negotiation, I think it was in the promo material. Our definition of negotiation is any conversation that requires an outcome. Effectively, it's a negotiation. Any conversation that you have that requires an outcome. Basically, when you need something. Basically, when you need something and you're asking for it. That has the elements of a negotiation. Right? But with that, most people see negotiation as being an us and them thing. And what we're doing here is we're turning that on its head. In fact, what I'd like to do, instead of seeing a few more things come out the chat box, because being pushed, when is the right time to commence is a good one. A loss in business and the idea of fair play, also really good concerns. Thank you. Right. This is our basic approach to negotiation. That rather than being a win-lose, essentially, you're not there to win. And this slide here speaks directly to many of the concerns that you have. You're there to reach an outcome that everyone can live with. I want you to think of that. You're not there to win. You're there to reach an outcome that everyone can live with. Now, in the chat box, one at a time. What is the difference between, and when you're negotiating for a car or a house, or you're negotiating for more office space or a pay rise, or you're negotiating with a client on the terms of an engagement? So on the one hand, you're negotiating for a car or a house, something like that. On the other hand, you're negotiating for a pay rise, more office space, with a client, with a supplier. What is the difference between those two types of negotiation? Now, instinctively, we know there's a difference, but let's see if we can identify. And there's a few differences, but let's see if we can identify. What's the key difference between those two? It's not obvious. It's not obvious. But what is the key? More personal investment in the car? Maybe. It may be that. There is part of it. Personal versus professional? Yeah, that's not too bad. That's not too bad. Right? But I want you to go deeper. There's something about those two negotiations. Dollars? Maybe. But then, if you're in corporate life, some of the negotiations you'd be doing are pretty big. You know the outcome. Yes, if it's a very good negotiator you're up against. All right, emotions is a good one. You have to see, wait there. Okay, consequences. Okay, Garen and Barbara, you've you come fairly close. You have to see the person again. Consequences. Okay, thank you. The essential difference is the idea of the ongoing relationship. You don't necessarily have an ongoing relationship with the person you're buying a house from or the person you're buying a car from. But you're negotiating for a pay rise, you're negotiating for more office space from senior management, you're negotiating with a client, you still have a relationship with them. It changes everything. It changes everything about how you conduct the relationship, how you conduct the negotiation. Like when you're negotiating for a car, slash and burn works just fine. Get everything you can because everything that they get, you lose. But when there's an ongoing relationship, then that changes everything. And what we do in our main programs with negotiation is we show you how you can stand your ground, how you can come across with authority and improve the relationship during the negotiation. I'll say that again. We show how you can come across with authority, you can stand your ground and improve the relationship through the negotiation. And one of the things that we see in negotiation is probably one of the biggest failures. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'll show you the biggest failure that I see in negotiation efforts. And that is that most people catastrophically underprepare when it comes to negotiation. Most people catastrophically underprepare. And the funny thing is, you look at a lot of negotiation courses and, they all talk about the importance of preparation, right? It's important to prepare and ask the right questions. And they really sell you on the idea of preparation. They don't show you how to do it. Like, okay, you start, you're getting ready for negotiation, something big. Like, you need to negotiate with senior management of a corporation for some unexpected capital expenditure. You're negotiating with a new client or whatever, right? And you think, okay, I got to prepare. And then you think, now what? Now what? Right? How do you prepare? That is one of the key elements. And we focus on two fundamental beliefs. Preparation involves two dimensions, and each one of these beliefs speaks to each of those dimensions. The first one, in my opinion, is the most important. Key belief number one: calm on the outside, fearless on the inside. It's a mindset preparation. Calm on the outside, fearless on the inside. The more astute among you would already realize that this is more than this belief is more than just negotiation, right? Like you can already see this is kind of all of life. It's about how you navigate life. And I know there's a lot of people in different levels in organizations, or some of you are sole professionals, and the world out there can be very intimidating. I taught this belief to my son, right? Probably one of the most important things I did right from his earliest age. Right? My son now is called Jay. He's 27 years old. He's such a great guy. But even when he was small, I instilled this belief in him. He was, when we first put him into school, when he first went to school, 5 years old, the principal sat us down and talked to us and said, Jay is likely to be a target for bullies. Now, we take bullying very seriously. Gave me the usual principles, talk, but he said, we take very seriously, but, we need to understand that, Jay, realistically, in any school, he might be a target. Now, I could see why. Jay was the smallest in the class. He was a bookworm. At 5 years old, he was reading big books. He wore thick glasses. But you know what? Never bullied. He was never, ever bullied because he knew he was okay. Bullies sniff out uncertainty. Bullies sniff out fear. And by having a belief that I will be okay, whatever the outcome, I will be okay. The things may not go my way today, but ultimately I will be okay. It was the foundation of his confidence. It allowed him to be calm on the outside and fearless on the inside. So that's a mindset thing. And we understand mindset's very important, but we're also all street smart enough to know that mindset's good, but ultimately, we need to get down to detail. And so the second of the key beliefs is basically be the most informed person in the room. Be the most informed person in the room. You need to know stuff. Essentially, it allows you to anticipate all surprises. If you are negotiating within a client organization, for instance, or one of your team members are negotiating in a client organization, if they hear something that surprises them, they don't know enough about what's going on in that organization. So many negotiations are lost because of things that you are not told. I want you to think about that. So many negotiations are lost. They fail because of what you are never told. But by deepening relationships within a client, by basically doing preparation long before you even know you need to negotiate, you'll be told things, you'll hear things, allowed you to be the most informed person in the room. The idea of preparation is key, and in our main courses, we go through a great deal of detail, a great deal of techniques into how you prepare. Like, what are the questions you ask? What are the types of questions? What are the actual questions that you ask? And how do you anticipate the ambushes that they're going to throw at you? There's three kinds of ambushes. Won't go into them today, but there are actually three kinds of ambushes that people throw at you that typically throw inexperienced negotiators. How do you deal with those? But when it comes to the actual negotiation, okay, a lot of techniques, but in our little time together, we've got 10 or 15 minutes to go. I want to focus on your voice. Your voice. And you've got two go-to voice tones, basically the trusted friend and what I call the late night DJ. Okay? During most of the conversations, you'll be rapport building, friendly, approachable, energetic, that sort of thing. And it might seem obvious, but a lot of people, when they go into a negotiation, they think they've got to put on the tough exterior. And kind of, okay, it works if you're negotiating, you don't want to see the person again, but it's not the persona you want when there's an ongoing relationship. The idea is to build trust, to get people to like you. Okay. Won't go into that. I want to focus on the late night DJ voice. Basically, how you handle things when things get tense. A lot of people, talk about being a pushover. In fact, the two of the interesting comments we got when I asked about what are the key concerns. One of them was being too harsh, and one of them was being a pushover. Well, the trusted friend voice stops you from coming across too harsh. The late night DJ voice stops you from being a pushover. Basically, it's low and slow, smooth, quiet, and reassuring. So let's put this into practice. Okay. You're in a tense situation. Someone just accuses you of something. Like, you're asking us to work with you again, but last time the whole thing failed, right? And we believe is because you let us down. Like, now, most people's reaction to that is high breathing, and they come back with a defense. Essentially, your strategy: pause and stay calm. Pause and stay calm, and then gentle eye contact. Use the late night DJ voice. Speak slowly and no accusation. In fact, I'm going to leave that up there. moment, but I'll describe to you one of my favorite scenes in a. Anybody seen the series Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul? Just a show of hands. You seen Anybody seen Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul? Okay, yeah. And I always hesitate in bringing this up in a corporate professional environment because everybody's a bad guy. Just some bad guys we like more than other bad guys, but everybody's bad, right? But there was a scene where there was obviously a deal going on in a car park, and it was very tense. There was Mike Emmenhout, who was the lead negotiator. He was just standing there, and the other bad guys handed over some money, and it was $20 short. And Mike said, and the other guy, was happy to let it go, but Mike Emmenhout was standing there, and he said, "Right amount or no deal." Soft voice, no accusations. Soft voice, few words. And the other guy, the guy who handed over the money, arced up and said, "Are you saying that we deliberately shortchanged you?" Okay, pause and stay calm. Gentle eye contact. Late night DJ voice, speak slowly, no accusation. He said, "No, mistakes happen." Like the perfect answer, diffusing the tense situation. So we're gonna try this. Imagine you're in a negotiation and you don't want to come across as a pushover now. And so here's a great phrase, but we can look at how you say it. And we can look at this at two levels. In the late night DJ voice, staying calm. Okay, just imagine you've just been accused of something, like like maybe they're saying, why would we work with you? You're going to sabotage us, or why are you asking for that? All you ever do is ask. You're not delivering, right? You've got an accusation. Okay. Now, this is written for team negotiations. If it's negotiating on your own, you just replace the word "we" with "I." You'd say, and this is, in fact, I'll leave it up so you can follow along. But the way I would say it with a late night DJ voice, using the structure that I showed you, just pause, stay calm, understand what you're saying, that with respect, we see differently. That's it. Understand what you're saying, that with respect, we see it differently. Low breathing. Eye contact directly into the camera in this case, or the person you're talking to. Understand what you're saying, that with respect, we see it differently. What I'd like you to do, if you like, you're on mute, so I want you to practice it. And if you feel self-conscious, turn your cameras off for the moment. I'm okay with that. But I want you to practice exactly that. Just in your calm voice, just imagine, I want you to visualize, you've just, the biggest bully just came and just threw something at you, right? I want you to just practice it. Just say it. And I want you to actually say it aloud. So you're on mute. As I said, if you like, turn the camera off, but I want you to do it. I want you to actually feel what it's like, because until you actually physically do it, it won't internalize. Understand what you're saying, that with respect, we see it differently. So diffusing. All right. We are now going to take this up a level, because you can get so much better than that. Saying that sentence, the way I did, is competent. That's what you'd expect from a competent negotiator. But how could it be any better? In fact, how could it be an order of magnitude better? This is the key takeaway for today. Your superpower is the big pause. A massive pause. Your ability to stand your ground. Check this out. Okay, I'm going to say it again. Understand what you're saying, though with respect, we see it differently. Like, how much more powerful was that? That gap between the words with respect and the words we see it differently creates power, it creates anticipation, and it keeps the initiative with you. I'll do it again. I want you to guess how long the pause is. Understand what you're saying, though with respect, we see it differently. In the chat box, how long was the pause? Don't exaggerate it. Realistically, how long do you think the pause was? Not bad guesses, everybody. Not bad. Well, actually, okay. 8 to 10 was a little bit long, but 3. Yeah. We actually time it. We actually typically time it. In our main courses, one of the best fun things we do, I have some audio engineering software, and I get people to say that sentence. And as they're speaking on the big screen behind, we do it live, or when we're doing it online, you see it on the share screen. We actually see the audio trace, so you can see when someone's speaking. So when they're pausing, it goes flat, and when they're speaking, you can see the wave, right? And I do it, and I measure the gap. You highlight the gap that it's flat, and you can see down the bottom right corner there's a duration tag. So you can see, and when I do it, it is between 2.7 and 3.2. So those estimates of 3 seconds, pretty good, right? When I'm doing it I'm talking senior management, CEOs, chief financial officers, chief operating officers. You know the longest anybody gets to? 0.7 seconds. The longest anybody gets to is 0.7 seconds. Okay. By the way, I'm seeing a chat here. We have lost audio. Just thumbs up if you can all hear me. Okay, good. Okay, then, okay, D, I'm sorry that you've lost audio. Hopefully there'll be a recording that we can send you. Of course, you can't hear that, but if actually, Ken, if you can put a message in the chat box to D saying we might be able to get you a recording of it. So I asked them, these senior executives, how long did that pause feel like? And they go, oh my God, it felt like it was forever. I was exaggerating the pause. So they exaggerated it to 0.7 seconds. As you heard earlier in my introduction, I'm actually a man of science, and I measure things. Not obsessively, but I do find measurements useful. And I have found that your ability to hold a pause is the most reliable quantitative measure of your confidence. It is a measure of your ability to stand your ground. It takes practice, obviously, uncomfortable practice, obviously. But your ability to pause in the middle of a sentence. Notice I'm saying in the middle of a sentence. That's the difference between pausing at the end and pausing in the middle. Pausing at the end does a lot of things. Okay, it emphasizes what was just said. It allows people to absorb everything like that, all the things you know. But pausing in the middle of a sentence, completely different. It's not about what you've just said. Pausing in the middle of a sentence builds anticipation to what you're about to hear. You will find in communication the most powerful technique you have is silence. Being able to own the silence. And in fact, I'll finish up with another use of silence, which is quite, for free. This is only going to give you 2 of the key beliefs, but the third belief of our 7 is actually the superpower of silence. And what we find, we ask a question, right? In the negotiation, we ask a question, and someone will give us an answer, and they stop talking. Or what do we do? Well, the first thing, once someone stops talking, what do? Talk again. What do the pros do? They say nothing. It's uncomfortable when you say nothing. So just imagine someone's asking you a question. You're being interviewed, right? Just imagine you're being interviewed, and someone asks you a question, and you answer it. And they're nodding their heads, but they don't say anything. What do you do? In the chat box, typically when someone doesn't say anything, you're being interviewed, and you are answering a question. Someone asks you a question, you answer it. Okay, you answer it. Yeah, that's it. You're correct, Renata. You keep talking. Talk more. Fill the gaps. Exactly. So who's giving away all the information? You are. Who is helping the other person being the most informed person in the room? You are. By holding your ground, by holding silence, you can influence the conversation. You don't control it, you don't own it, but you do influence it. You don't want to control it. You don't want to own it. That's old-fashioned macho stuff. You want to bring the other person further into it. And so, being the most informed person in the room, owning the power of silence so you can influence the conversation, and most importantly, the fundamental belief, which I taught my son Jay, calm on the outside, fearless on the inside. These are the keys that we focus on when we are teaching negotiation to everyone from fresh university graduates to the most seasoned professionals. All right. My friends, it has been a rare pleasure to have spent this time with you, and I'm happy. What I'd like you to do, I'd love time for questions, but we never do. However, you can see the spelling of my name on the bottom left corner, hopefully. What I'd like you to do is connect with me on LinkedIn if you're not already. If you have a question, ask me the question. I would be very happy to answer it. Just send me a little message if we're connected. It's not an email. It's just a simple message. Would love to connect with you. Thank you very much. And so, people, I now hand back to Ken. Thank you very much, everyone.